Hey, my name is Sean LeBlanc. I'm one of the franchisees for Gorilla Property Services out in Moncton, New Brunswick, and I'm just here to give you guys a breakdown of how our new soft wash machine works and the process as well of actually putting it into action and getting the full property washed. Perfect. All right, guys, so here we are at our first property. So just going to show you guys how to kind of get set up with the soft wash machine itself. So first step is you want to remove the plug from the charger. So once everything is fully charged, take the plug out, make sure to put the cap back on properly just so that it's sealed so no water or chemicals can go inside there, just to protect the battery box. From there, basically on this machine, there's two setups, so two people can work at the same time. I'm going to explain this side here first, which is hooked to a 12-volt pump that's connected to this blue line. Now that everything's charged, we want to turn the pump on. Basically, now that the pump is all primed up, I'll explain to you guys basically the three dilution ratios of the system. On this system here, there's basically three tanks. One tank will be for your water, which I will explain this a bit in the future, where when you arrive at the property, this is your water hookup. It just hooks up to the water hose on the house and kind of keeps you running throughout the entire process, in which I'll explain a little bit more later on. This ratio here is connected to your water, which, depending on how much water flow you need, the height of the building, factors will come in play here. If it's going to be 1 or 5, which we can also explain in more depth later on. So first thing is the water. Second thing is your surfactant, which is basically going to be the degreaser of your choice. And lastly here is your sodium hypochlorite, which is basically a fancy word for the bleach, which is your organic growth eliminator. So anytime that we're dealing with basically moss, algae, mold on siding, depending on how dirty the house is where you're going to want to play with the dilution rate here. But it's good to keep in mind that the system offers three different tanks: water, surfactant, and your sodium hypochlorite. All right, so earlier we were kind of explaining what the other side of the system looks like, which is basically station 1, if you want to call it. Normally there's two guys in the truck at the same time, so this is set up to do soft washing with two people. The other side had that 12-volt pump, which is more or less used for 1-level bungalow, 2-level properties, etc. Something relatively shorter. This one here is connected to a bigger pump. So station 2 would be the 24-volt, which is designed for more or less 3 levels or even 4 levels. Once that's turned on and primed, you're ready to go. The last thing that I want to show you guys about this system is your Vanguard pressure washer, located right here in the back corner. And attached to the pressure washer leading up to this side here is 200 feet of pressure washer hose, which means in theory 3 people can be washing at the same time, or I should say 2 people can be soft washing a property while the third guy is pressure washing, let's say, your concrete walkway or deck. So it's mostly designed for 3 people to be able to work at the same time. All right, so now that we've kind of went through how the functionality of the machine works, it's time to put everything into action and actually show you guys how we wash a property. So here we are at our first home. You can always start off by taking the ladder off the alu rack, which can be very helpful in higher areas or if you're offering gutter cleaning or another service. I will also add that the alu rack is actually an option that you can add on to the system. You don't need to have it on, but I would recommend to have it on, as it's really ideal because you can have a one-stop shop with the truck. You don't always need to bring the enclosed trailer with you. With that being said, it's time for step 1, which is taking out the water hose, connecting it to the property, and filling up the tanks. now that step 1 is done, we have water going into our machines, everything's ready to go. It's time to start the house washing process, which is basically taking out one of our hoses and starting with rinsing the property. Alright, so now that we have our equipment taken out, everything's ready to go. We start off by our first step, so we pick the section of the property that we want to start with, and we want to pre-rinse that section. Just because on a warm, dry, sunny day, we don't want the chemical to stick on there too long. So we're going to go ahead and pre-rinse. So now that we have the section of the house that we're washing pre-rinsed, we're going to go ahead with step 2, which is applying the chemical. So when you're applying the chemical, you want to make sure that you're applying it everywhere on the exterior gutter faces, siding, window frames. You want to be mindful in regards to the soffits as per keeping really an angle when you're spraying it, because the last thing we want to do is spray liquids into the soffits. Alright, so step 3 here is now that we've applied the solution, we've let it sit for about 4 or 5 minutes to make sure that we give it time to act and clean. We want to go ahead and start with the actual washing process, which for the exterior gutter faces, as they can be a little bit more dirty, a little bit more stubborn being aluminum, we want to give it just a very gentle light brush to make them look really nice and shiny. As for the siding, we let the solution do its work. All we're doing is we're rinsing off the solution, going top to bottom, and making sure that we get all of the residue off the siding. The very last step is we want to make sure that we leave the property with clean windows. It's a very important aspect for customers. So at that point, what we want to do is we want to change the brush head on our brush to a window cleaning brush. We want to hook up our water to the water purifier, making sure that we don't leave any residue behind. And we just want to give every single window a quick brush and rinse, making sure that we leave the property spotless, ending up with a happy customer. Alright guys, so basically just to recap here, so we were able to fully wash this property, which is around 1,400 square foot home. In terms of arriving at the property, making sure that we have our tanks filled up, everything's primed, we washed the full top to bottom, and we were done just in little under an hour for 2 of us to completely wash this property. We had this property priced at around $380 plus HST, which makes us a good profit margin because we're a lot more efficient using the system that we're now using.